April 2nd, 1931, a teenager struck out both Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig. But who that teenager was will shock you. That and more coming up on Sports Talk with Dad right now. Welcome back to Sports Talk with Dad. As always, my name is Kyle, and I cannot call this Sports Talk with Dad without the man sitting next to me, a man who I don't want to be sitting next to today, my dad, Tim.
Is that why you haven't talked to me all week?
Listen, last week we talked about my workshop in my back room.
Which, by the way, I came over. It took me almost 45 minutes to clean the workbench, but I got it done for you.
I doubt it, but that's okay. We talked about the sawdust in the back because I made a project. My back room was clean. There was just a little layer of sawdust on the workbench, and I was destroyed on the internet. Absolutely destroyed. I've been destroyed for my opinion before. I can accept that. What I can't accept is people calling me a pig for having a small layer of dust on a workbench. What I can't stand is people sitting there questioning how I clean in my house. I had one person in the comments say, "Your wife must be ashamed." Really? Really? Over nothing.
Oh, it was something. I mean, it was 7-8 inches of sawdust.
You are a liar. A liar.
45 minutes to clean the top.
Whatever. I'm done talking about this. We need to talk about something that was almost a disaster, which is the Masters on Sunday.
Before we get to the Masters, do you know what today is?
Jackie Robinson Day.
It is Jackie Robinson Day.
Yes.
I love Jackie Robinson Day, but it always makes me angry.
Do tell.
Baseball should honor him. Kudos to Ken Griffey Jr. for being the first one to say, "Hey, can I wear 42 to honor him?" He did. There's a forgotten man in all of this.
Larry Doby.
Larry Doby broke the American League color barrier on July 5th, 1947. So what is that? About 10, 12 weeks later.
Yeah.
He's forgotten.
He is.
His number's retired as it should be in Cleveland. But the American League at least should honor him by having everybody in the American League wear 14 on July 5th.
See, I would like it if they had a Jackie Robinson, Larry Doby Day where everybody in the National League wears 42 and everybody in the American League wears 14. I think that would be really, really cool considering the leagues have always been very separate.
They have. But here's my problem with Jackie Robinson was the man who first broke it, and it was a huge deal because of the amount of racism going on. It was the era of Jim Crow.
Yep.
So I get it. You should honor him, and I'm not taking anything away from him. His number's retired on every ballpark in America, as it should be, every major league park. The American League should also be retiring Larry Doby in every ballpark because he broke the color barrier and went through just the same amount of vile racism that Jackie did.
I 100% agree with you. We talked about this last year, too. I think it is sad that he is forgotten because he is. I mean, if you and I don't talk about him, nobody knows about him.
Right.
But I agree. There should be, again, I think that you should have 42 in the American League or National League and 14 in the American League as the teams play each other. But that's just my opinion. I also agree with you saying that they should have a Larry Doby Day specifically.
They should. And it's long overdue. I'm sure the Doby family that's still around would appreciate it. People can't forget what he went through because he was the only guy in the American League for a long time as well.
Yep.
So
it's a good call. On to a true disaster, though, which was the Masters.
Almost disaster.
I don't think you could be gift wrapped something any better than what Rory McIlroy was in the Masters on Sunday. Double bogey, settled down. First hole, double bogey, settled down. Had a great round. And then it started to get into his head.
Number 13 came along. I thought he made a smart play because he hit a drive. He laid up for a second. He's 86 yards from the green. He just has to loft it up, and he does what every normal golfer does. He decelerated his club and put it in the drink.
Doubled on 13. Had at one point a 4-shot lead going into the turn. That ended that, and then followed it up with a bogey on 14, settled down, birdie on 15, parred 16, birdied 17. Justin Rose had just hit a birdie to go 11 under. Rory McIlroy is at 12 under. All he has to do is par.
And he
18.
has a perfect drive on 18. He just has to get that ball on the green. And instead, he puts it in the sand.
Great out of the sand,
Sure.
though. Gives himself a putt. He makes 99 out of 100 times. Misses the putt. Bogeys 18. But let me tell you, though, I think the best thing that could have happened to him in that playoff was going into that bogey, because as soon as he did that and went back to kiss his wife and hug his daughter, his shoulders went down. And he was just like, I choked. I got nothing else to lose here.
Well, and I love what his caddy said. And they've been friends since they were 5 years old. His caddy, on their way back to the beginning to 18, looked at him and said, hey, if we would have talked at the beginning of the week and I would have told you were in a playoff for the Masters on Sunday, you would have been really happy. Rory McIlroy actually said, that calmed me down.
Yeah.
Because I was right where I wanted to be. And he played that first playoff hold brilliantly.
Well, what needed to happen is he needed to start putting the pressure on Justin Rose and take it off himself. And that's exactly what he did by hitting a perfect shot into the 18th green.
Oh, my God. Well, Justin Rose had hit a great approach shot. He was like 12 feet away. Rory went inside of him.
Yep.
And had like 2 feet, 3 feet for the win, and he made it. It's one of the few times in my life I watched every shot of Masters Sunday. It was more exciting than even Tiger in 19.
Dude, my heart was racing. The whole time, my heart was like, dude, you gotta make these shots. What is happening right now? And I'm sure he was feeling it worse, but his reaction as he makes that birdie putt to win the playoffs was unbelievable.
It was.
I mean, this is a guy who has been waiting for this. It has clearly been in his head for so long. And now the monkey's off his back. I could see him going on a run. He officially, during his career, has no more pressure. He is one of 5 guys to have a career grand slam.
He was the 6th guy.
Was he the 6th guy?
Gene Sarazen. Then it was, I'm going to miss somebody, Ben Hogan, Tiger. Jack was in there, and then you're right, 5.
He's the 5th one.
Yep.
He doesn't have to do anything else.
No, there's one more. Gary Player.
That's right. Gary Player also did it. We've only seen that statistic 37,000 times.
And how can we forget Gary Player? Because I love Gary Player. But it is the most exclusive list possibly in all sports.
It is, and he is on it. Congratulations, Rory McIlroy, on finally winning the Masters. I love seeing that green jacket on him. Why don't they do the green jacket in front of the crowd anymore? I get why they did it in 2020.
They come back out and do it afterwards.
Did they?
The crowd. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't watch that long. My kids were like, is this over yet? And I was like, it would be if he didn't miss that putt. Now I have to finish this. I'm way too invested.
I think America was. I mean, he's from Northern Ireland, which, by the way, is where the British Open is being played this year.
Yeah, because that's British territory.
Yes. Or as they call it, the Open.
It's now the Open. It's not the British Open anymore.
It'll always be the British Open. But he could win up there. He could go on a tear. He's had all the talent in the world. I mean, he was a prodigy at 5 years old. Yeah. Just like Tiger, he was on TV over in England.
Right.
Making shots into dryers.
Listen, his story is great. He seems like a great guy. I'm very excited for him. It's not necessarily as exciting as what happened on April 2nd, 1931, but I'm going to hold that till later because I need to show you once again where Babe Ruth may be a little bit overrated.
He is not overrated. He's
just
the greatest
a little
player
bit
of all time.
The called shot was not a called shot. It is a thing of legends.
Yes, it is.
It is a myth. The video proves he did not call his shot.
He looked and he was like he had one more.
I have proof from the man himself. An article I don't think you have heard before, and I saved it till right now.
Of course you did.
I want to get your live reaction. Babe Ruth, after the called shot, asked if he called his shot. His response, hell no. It isn't a fact. Only a damned fool would do a thing like that. You know, there was a lot of pretty rough ribbon going on both benches during that series. When I swung and missed that first one, those Cubs really gave me a blast. So I grinned at him. I held out one finger and told him it'd only take one to hit it. Then the second one. And I held out two fingers, saying that's just two. And then I hit it deep. If I had done something stupid like that, he would have put it in my ear. Nobody would do something like that. That's from Babe Ruth himself.
The legend's been a great story for years and years. Ruth is right. If he would have tried to call his shot, that pitcher would have put it in his ear, just like you saw in Major League.
Yep.
Just like they said in Field of Dreams.
We saw in Field of Dreams. He gave it a wink. It went right in your ear.
Right. So it doesn't surprise me that he didn't call the shot, but it's a great legend. It's a great story.
Well, and they had been going back and forth for a long time. I watched the whole thing. It was against Chicago Cubs, Wrigley Field. First one to hit it over center field in Wrigley. Nobody thought it could be done. And they were giving him nonstop flack, and the fans were throwing fruit at him during batting practice. He was riled up. And for somebody to talk to the dugout like that, I miss that in baseball. I just want to throw that out there. He was just saying he wasn't even pointing out here.
He was pointing at the dugout and going,
pointing at the dugout.
Two.
We have it on film with him going, that's two. He never called his shot. It is a thing of legends.
This is
from the mouth of the Babe himself.
This is an era where all there was newspaper. A newspaper sports writer said this will be a great story. He called his shot. It became legend.
But we have the video. This was actually on video. We have him looking at the dugout going like this.
And if you look at the video, because it was so grainy, it could have been I'm going
Oh,
out
it
there.
was not. Babe Ruth did not call his shot at all.
I will give you that, and I
did
agree
Babe
with
Ruth
him.
lean into it later on in his career?
Of course he did.
Of course. Why wouldn't you? I would. Why not?
When the truth gets in the way, go with the myth.
Exactly.
I mean, it's
but you know, April 2nd, 1931, he was struck out by a teenager. But before we get into that, I want to talk about something that was due to happen. Tennessee quarterback Nico Imaliva, I think that's how you pronounce his name.
I'm a believer.
Yeah, well, Imaliva as in I'm a leaving Tennessee, because they were in dispute over NIL money, and Tennessee said, you know what, dude, this isn't worth it. Peace.
What was he looking for, like 10?
Well, he got 10. I think he was looking for somewhere around 20 million. I don't know that. That's not in the article, but he was definitely in fights with Tennessee over NIL money, and this is just more. This was due, and good for Tennessee saying, listen, we're not playing this game anymore. It was a standard that needed to be set. But more so, this is why you just need contracts.
Well, it's the NIL has been wild, wild west. We've talked about it. The NCAA, or if they break off and football goes on their own, somebody's got to get a hold of this and go, okay, kids, you can't go from one year to another school the next year, wherever the money is. You're going to get a contract. You're going to sign it. You're going to be there.
But why not, though? It's a multi-billion-dollar school. These kids are trying to get their cut. The problem is Nico wasn't good enough to be playing this game. He really wasn't. He's a glorified running back, wide receiver playing quarterback. He shows up against Ohio State and just chokes. He wasn't like, you're getting paid $10 million. Say thank you and take it.
It's a good thing it happened because there has to be contracts. Maybe it's that you could sign one as a freshman and you can make a decision as a junior what you're going to do for the last 2 years. But
I'm in on that.
You can't go from one as a freshman to another school as a sophomore and keep playing the game. Because then
now.
I know you can now. But at some point, don't we have to get back to the fact that these kids are supposed to be in college to actually learn something?
They're not there for that.
I
They haven't been there for that for a long time.
I know.
Some of them are.
It's a shame because they should be going there to get an education.
I mean, you look at, what was it? Andre Roll, I forget his name. His last name was Roll. Went and played for the Tennessee Titans after playing in college and used that money to go back, and now he's a brain surgeon. I mean, some of these kids definitely take advantage of the scholarships, but I don't blame the kids for saying, listen, the reason you're here is because I'm playing and wanting a cut of the billions of dollars that is being made.
And that's fine. And this has been going on since the 1980s, maybe 70s. NIL was supposed to be name, image, and likeness so that if a kid's jersey is sold, he was going to give part of the profits.
Yeah, this was all over a video game.
Yes. And this has now turned into a disaster, actually, for college sports because NIL has the distinct possibility of ruining college sports forever.
I think it's in the process of doing it right now.
They
I
need
mean,
it.
who you made a point when we first started talking about this, and I think it's so true. College used to be great because you see the kids that were coming in,
Mhm.
and you knew who was going to be the next up on the roster. The
Correct.
transfer portal really wasn't a thing, and so you really got invested in the team and who was being recruited, and that made it fun. You know, Ohio State transfer was there for sure, but it's like, okay, this is my guy, and this is who's coming up pretty soon, and it was fun. You don't have that anymore. There's no investment. It doesn't matter where kids commit because 2 seconds later they can change their mind and go someplace else. You have 3 different transfer portals now. I mean, there's just no reason to even pay attention.
Well, and that's look at Wisconsin. They just brought in a four-star quarterback. Good for them. I don't know his name. Either his first or last name's Ryan. But you're right. I'm not invested in it. I used to know, okay, Ron Dane is going to be here. He's my running back for the next 4 years. And he took us back-to-back Rose Bowls.
Right.
That's what you were looking at.
And then you were looking at, okay, he's leaving after this year. Who's behind him?
Right.
Because that's the guy we get to be excited
James
for.
White came behind him.
Yeah, Brian Calhoun was there. You had
Melvin
Gordon was there.
Gordon was there. And then
I mean, Wisconsin was back to back to back to back to back, but none of them pan out in the NFL because your linemen were back to back to back to back to back.
correct. But even
Except Ron Dane. Ron Dane got screwed over.
He got screwed
Ron
over by
Dane,
the
if he would have went
Giants.
to the Steelers, could have been a Hall of Fame running back.
Yes, the Giants ran him like Barry Sanders instead of running him like Earl Campbell,
Right.
which he should have done. But that's another story. But the point is, that was my team. Those were my guys. I knew them. I knew J.J. Watt. Saw him for 4 years.
Well, to be fair, he started in Central
He
Michigan.
did, but he came over, delivered pizzas, was a walk-on in Wisconsin. He stayed there. He was our guy.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen anymore.
No.
And college football has got to get back to that. They've got to somehow put some rails along this highway because it's way out of hand.
It is.
And because you can't deny the kids, and I don't deny the kids money, they're ones putting their body at risk. They may not get an NFL career. Most of them won't, by the way. So sign one as a freshman. You can sign another one as a junior, but that's it. You get one chance to transfer. Other than that, you're actually going to the school you want to go to.
Unless a coach leaves. That's the thing where I have an issue with. Like, if you have this coach and this coach, because a coach can leave at any time.
Sure.
There's no stipulation to him staying and riding out his contract. They can leave. They get him paid off anytime. So you're not holding coaches to that standard. So if
Okay.
a coach leaves, I think you should be able to transfer no issue. I believe that for a long time.
Make that a caveat. If the coach leaves, you get an extra one. That doesn't happen all the time, but it happens enough.
It happens a lot.
I was just going to say it happens enough, so you have to address it. Fine. If a coach leaves, you can follow him or you can go to somebody else. But we've got to get some rails on this thing because it's getting way out of hand. And we're losing the fact that these guys should be there to be setting themselves up for life because football is a very short life and they don't have a clue how to be an adult. They've been pampered from the time they were little kids. Then they get to college, they're pampered even more. They go to the NFL, you get all this money. And how many times have we heard $1 million contract is gone in less than 2 years out of the NFL?
It happens all the time. The NFL definitely does things to try and help financially. College doesn't right now. I mean, like you said, it's the wild, wild west. This was bound to happen, whereas a player and a school was going to break up over money.
It was a matter of time.
Officially happened, and it's really now what? And I think the NCAA needs to be out of this. The schools need to come together, form their own new conference. The NCAA wasn't there forever. It's not like you started with the NCAA. This was formed in, what, the 70s?
60s. It was NIT before, whatever it was. But the NCAA had put their head in the sand for years and years and years. They were taking kids' scholarships away because they went to a car dealership and had a donut.
Right.
So
well, look what they did to Des Bryant. He went and had dinner with Dion, got scared, so lied about it, and they made him sit out his entire senior year.
Correct.
Like, it might have been his junior year. I could have gotten the years wrong, but either way, they made him sit out for an entire year, his last year in college, and that's a joke.
They shouldn't have had that power. They've screwed it up. There's got to be some adults out there someplace that can come in and say, okay, We're putting rails on. We've got the Power 5 conferences. This is how we're doing NIL going forward.
And there has to, at this point, you have to have contracts involved. There has to be legal documentation signed. Call it a day. This is getting too crazy.
Yes. And from the players' here's a big problem. They've got to get fixed. If a school promises a kid money,
right,
they can't back out of it. To your point, there's got to be a contract. Remember the kid in Florida?
Yeah.
Who was promised, I don't know whether it was.
It's happened all over the place.
And it's not guaranteed money.
No, at any point, a school can say we're not paying this. And that is a big thing to know out there, folks. Schools can promise whatever they want. There is no obligation for the schools to pay the players because it's booster money.
Right.
So at this point, contracts need to be signed. It protects the kids. It stops this stuff from happening because the schools are definitely taking advantage of kids in this situation. It's going to continue to happen. And you just need, again, sign a contract. Call it a day. This is professional sports, and we just need to treat it as such. Sadly, what's even crazier, speaking of contracts, by the way, is how are the Raiders going to handle Max Crosby's contract? Because he just signed on to be an assistant GM at Eastern Michigan University.
He's going to be there. He's a hand slapper. He's going to try to get money from people he meets. He's not going to be going to an office. He's been doing that. He's not going to go to an office.
The idea is, looking at this, is he is going to be in charge of scouting players. He is going to be in charge of recruiting players. He is fully involved in the process, but yet he is still playing NFL football.
I know he went to Eastern Michigan. He loves the university, obviously.
One of the worst athletic programs in the country, by the way.
They produced Max Crosby. They did something right.
They produce small Michigan schools produce NFL talent on a regular basis somehow.
Central Michigan started out with J.J. Watt as a tight end.
Right. Well, I think that's where Antonio Brown went. Like every once in a while, you'll see some Central Eastern Michigan guy come out and be a star in the NFL. It's weird, but it's just like, how are you going to do this? You have responsibilities in the NFL.
When you're a player on a team as bad as the Raiders, he'll find a way.
Well,
he'll find a way.
They're going to be not bad this year. You got Pete Carroll. You got Geno Smith. You got Max Crosby. You got some other players on the roster.
So where's the good come from?
Max Crosby.
Yeah.
And Pete Carroll.
Pete Carroll's going to have a 3-year run.
Geno's not bad.
No, he's not bad. And he'll be great for them for now. They've got to get a new quarterback at some point. Who knows?
They just signed to an extension.
Who knows? Shedeur Sanders may fall to them.
Well, let's get into that because as crazy as that is with Max Crosby, what's even crazier to me is that Shedeur Sanders, everybody's preparing for him to have this massive slide. So much so that he's not showing up to the draft. The Saints have an interesting situation going on. Derek Carr is hurt.
Yes.
And he is possibly going to miss the entire 2025 season. There's a lot of things behind it on how long they've known this and how long they haven't. But it leads to something interesting.
I'd say it's likely he's going to miss the whole season.
But why is this being announced now? Like he just randomly found out he's having surgery?
We hear about this all the time. Guys get hurt. They think they can rest it and rehab it and they'll be fine. He found out he has to have surgery. I find it interesting that the Giants are working out Sanders and a special workout. And I think the only reason they are doing that is so that the Saints may pay a little bit more so they can move up and take him at 3.
Well, listen, you got the Steelers, who are in desperate need of a quarterback because I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going there. You have the Saints, who are all of a sudden in desperate need of a quarterback, and I think have been for a couple of years.
Yes.
The Giants are in desperate need for a quarterback, but they may ride with what they have. I don't know why, but they might. And there's really no other team. So it's this interesting game being played between 3 teams.
Well, I hate to say this is not a good quarterback class. Shedeur Sanders has tools.
I still don't think Cam Ward's necessarily the number 1 overall pick.
He's going to be.
Really? We don't know that.
I would be shocked if Tennessee didn't pick him.
I just don't.
I mean,
this is a guy to start the season who was thought of as a possible Heisman Trophy winner. But again, if he came out last year,
He would have been
He would have been a third, fourth round pick. And I just don't see the big jump he's made, except for the fact that there's less quarterback talent in this draft.
Okay. So you've got Sanders, who's been hyped all year.
Hyped for a long time.
Yes, by his own dad with Dion.
Yeah.
They're not going to the draft. Probably wise. Travis Hunter is the guy from Colorado that should be the high draft pick.
Well, and he will be.
And by the way, I'm letting him play both sides of the ball.
100%. It's just this interesting game, and yet Aaron Rodgers is still out there. So I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
Are the Saints now in play for Aaron Rodgers?
Rodgers wants to go to Minnesota or
Minnesota.
San Francisco.
Oh, yeah. You've been bringing up San Francisco for a while. And the longer this goes on, the more I think you're right on that.
Because I actually saw a possible trade, which...
Well, there's no trade because he's a free agent.
It would be some kind of a working because they want to sign him. They want to get him on the hook. He goes out to Brock Purdy goes to Pittsburgh. TJ Watt goes to San Francisco. And then you bring in Aaron Rodgers.
That's the other interesting thing, too. And we are jumping all over the place here, folks. But bear with us. There's a method here. Well, there's not, but bear with us anyway. TJ Watt just gave the deuces on his Instagram, possibly saying bye-bye to the Steelers. And I don't blame him. He has 1 year remaining on his contract. He wants a new deal. He gave a semi-team friendly deal the last time he signed. Now Myles Garrett has signed this massive contract. And Max Crosby signed a big contract. TJ Watt is saying, I've outperformed this guy statistically. I'm the heart and soul of this defense. I'm better than Myles Garrett. I want more money than Myles Garrett.
And this is his last big contract.
This is it. And the Steelers don't want to pay him that because this is his last big contract. He's already been dealing with some injury stuff. It's like, we're not paying you that. And he's like, cool. Bye.
Look, if I'm TJ, if they won't pay him, somebody else will.
Right.
San Francisco would. Packers should, but they won't. There's a lot of teams out there that would pay TJ Watt because he's still a stud. And he's going to have the all-time record at some point.
Yep.
He's one of the most dominant. And granted, he's a Wisconsin Badger, so I'm a homer.
100%.
He has been an outstanding player for many, many years in Pittsburgh.
He has. I mean, he'll never get his number retired there because that's not what Pittsburgh does. But you keep him in the family. I've never seen Pittsburgh not keep people in the family like this. It's interesting. So I have a question for you then.
All right, go ahead.
If you look, let me ask you about a few players. Cam Ward, where is he going? Where do you think?
Tennessee.
I think so too. I don't get it. Shedeur Sanders, where is he going to end up?
I don't know. He's the one guy. I saw something today that said he could drop as far as 21.
To the Steelers. Yeah. Everybody in the last 2 years has drafted a quarterback. There's just not a lot of teams that need a quarterback right now.
It's not only that. Again, Shedeur Sanders is incredibly talented, but as an NFL quarterback,
he's going to be great. He had one of the worst offensive lines in college football and still put up Madden-like numbers.
But he also has Dion. Any team that drafts him is going to have to deal with Dion. He's already said he wants to go to a warm weather city. I mean, if I'm the Saints, that's my pick. I go and get Sanders.
Okay. Where does Jackson Dart go? Because I think Jackson Dart is now the second quarterback off the draft board.
I think so, too. I think it'll be Cam Ward. Oh, God. Where do you think he's going to go?
The Saints.
You think the Saints are going to grab him?
If he's there.
Yeah.
If he's there. I mean, yeah.
If I'm the Saints, though, I want the buzz. I want to get back in the spotlight. That's the Sanders pick.
I think Sanders is the better quarterback. What have I always said? Don't draft somebody with injury issues in college. What has Jackson Dart had? Injury issues in college. It's been constant his junior and senior year. He has a cannon of an arm. He seems like a really good quarterback. I've liked him a lot watching him. I thought he's been an underrated quarterback for a long time, but he's definitely getting a lot of hype. Let's leave it that way. Shedeur Sanders is a complete package. I think he's the best quarterback in this draft class.
He also had Travis Hunter to throw to, which really
against no offensive line.
I got it. He's very mobile. He's
Listen,
got a
I'm
great
going to ask you
arm,
this. I'm not trying to be this guy.
but you are.
I am who I am.
Okay.
How many quarterbacks have I been wrong on in the last 5 years in the NFL draft?
So many.
Honestly,
I think
when it comes to picking the top quarterback out of the
Seriously.
draft, I didn't pick Patrick Mahomes,
No, you didn't.
but since then,
You've been surprisingly, not surprisingly, you've been scarily good.
I have picked, since the Patrick Mahomes draft, I have picked the top quarterback out of every single one of those draft classes. And I am picking again Shedeur Sanders.
Okay. I'm not saying he's
And
not
even
gonna-
in the Patrick Mahomes draft, I picked Josh Allen as the top quarterback, and so I still count that.
Of course you do, because that's you.
What is Josh Allen besides Patrick Mahomes? He's Patrick Mahomes without Super Bowl rings. That's all he is.
Look, I would not be afraid to draft Sanders at all. I really wouldn't. You just have to give him some tools around him. You know, if he
He's
goes
the number one quarterback.
in my mind, he is. I was not overly impressed with Cam Ward.
I don't
is.
get
He's
Cam
got
Ward
the
at all.
size. Well, people are in love with his size again and everything else. For me, if I was the first pick of the draft for me would be Travis Hunter, and then I'll figure everything else out.
See, he's the best player in this draft. I don't think Shedeur Sanders makes it past the Saints unless the Saints do something stupid. The Giants, I think, are going to draft Jackson Dart. I think that's their pick at number 3. And then I think Shedeur is going to fall to 9 at the Saints.
And where do you see Hunter going to?
The Browns.
Okay.
Number 2 overall. I think he's
that.
the number 2 overall pick. My question to you then is, I got a couple more. Where does Aaron Rodgers end up?
I've already said that. He wants to go to Minnesota.
I know, but where do you think he ends up is what I'm asking.
Minnesota I don't think he goes anywhere for a while.
No.
This is going to be like a June or July signing. Minnesota's got to see what they have in McCarthy. They're going to work him out this spring and see what they've got. If they aren't impressed, which I don't think they will be, you go and you grab Rodgers and bring him in. That team is set to win. That team is a Super Bowl team with Aaron Rodgers. The other one, what are you going to do with Brock Purdy? Personally, I would cut him. I would let him go, and I would bring in Aaron Rodgers there because I think they'd have a good chance of winning. I've just never.
It's not the same San Francisco team that it was, though.
You're right. Brock Purdy is the greatest Mr. Irrelevant ever, but
yes, he is.
But he's still not the guy to take you to the promised land. I had somebody earlier this week saying, well, neither is Jordan Love. Well, we're going to find out. He needs weapons as well.
He needs a new coach.
Yes, and that is starting to ring bells. I'm not sure about his GM either.
Last one.
Okay.
Last one. TJ Watt.
He'll be in Pittsburgh.
I think so, too.
They'll figure it out. They'll figure it out.
And then there's Jalen Ramsey out there, too. I'm going to save that for another day because that's a whole nother mess. But I just wanted to see where you thought they were going to go. I think Shedeur ends up with the Saints. I think Dart ends up with the Giants. And I think Cam Ward will end up with the Titans.
Do you think there's going to be a lot of trades next week?
No. There never is.
No.
It's always this hype and stuff, and then it just goes chalk on the picks. Like, I think there will be 2 trades in the first round.
Okay.
I think there will be a big trade getting into the top 10. Either the Saints move up or somebody else moves up.
Always moves into the bottom half.
And then I think there will be a trade to move into the bottom half
Now,
later on.
If I'm Cleveland, I'm trading the number 2 and getting a whole bunch of draft picks.
I would too.
That I think is
especially if you
play.
could fleece the Saints, and that's the team you try and fleece at this point, or the Steelers.
Either one. Well, Steelers are too smart for that. The Saints aren't. And if you could get 8, count them up, 8, 9, 10 draft picks down the line a little bit, that's what you do.
Yeah. I can get 8, 9, 10 draft picks from one team, but as a total.
Remember Dallas in Minnesota? Yeah, it can be done.
Yeah, it's possible. You remember the Saints with Ricky Williams?
I remember Dick leaving right after the pick. And Ricky Williams was not a bad pick.
No, Ricky Williams was actually a great running back. It was too much pressure on him. His contract he signed was stupid, and he got into pot. But if you look when he came back, he had 4,000 or 5,000 yard rushing seasons in a row.
He was great in Miami.
He was a really good player.
He was.
All right, it is on to what we have been teasing this whole time. A 17-year-old struck out Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig, and who that 17-year-old was may shock you.
So, on April 2nd, 1931, as we said, in Chattanooga, a 17-year-old pitcher named Jackie Mitchell came out as kind of a phenom, and she was put into place to pitch to Babe Ruth first.
Now, what did you say?
It was she. She is a girl. Not underhand, this is not softball. This is a girl pitcher, a lefty on top of it. Her father was an optician, eye doctor back in the day.
Yep.
His next door neighbor, though, was Dazzy Vance, who was a very famous pitcher for the Cardinals back in that era. He taught her how to pitch. Some people have said this was all for show. I've read a few things that it wasn't. She gets up there and in 3 pitches strikes out Babe Ruth. Lou Gehrig comes up. 3 pitches strikes him out. She had good stuff.
Yep.
She walked the next guy and they brought back in the original pitcher. I would have loved to have been there. She obviously has some stuff. Is it a myth like the called shot? Or did she really strike somebody out?
I mean, she really struck somebody out. I saw the video of it. She struck him out. And Babe was swinging.
Yes, he wanted to get it. He wanted to destroy it without hurting her.
Right.
But she was a star basketball player, a tennis player. She was also a great baseball player.
Yeah.
And she was a swimmer as well. I mean, this kid was a phenomenal athlete. So I don't think it was a surprise that she was able to come in as a lefty on top of it, which is, they're always hard to hit. They should be illegal, actually. And she struck out Ruth and Gehrig back to back. What a night that would have been to been there.
Oh, such a great story.
I love baseball trivia and baseball history.
But you and I have had a great show. But as you all know, you cannot have a conversation with your dad without your father getting the last word. So it is all you.
Anybody who has ever played golf in their life had to have been watching Sunday with their heart thumping. There was times I was running my fingers through my hair. I was falling on the ground. I couldn't believe the drama I was watching. It was better than any movie I think I've ever seen. And yet it was real life. The star of the show was Rory McIlroy, trying for the 11th time to get the Grand Slam. Didn't know if he was going to do it. He was kind of gagging at a couple points, but in the end, he pulled it off. And I think the world cheered because he is a likable guy and he laid his emotions out there. The fact that he's got his caddy, who's a boyhood friend, it makes it even better. These guys have been going through this. I feel bad for Justin Rose because he would have been a brilliant champion. Like he said, he wanted to be the villain on that day, but Rory won in the end. Congratulations, Rory. I can't wait to see the PGA, which is coming up. I hope Justin Rose wins a major coming up as well because he certainly has earned it.
Thank you so much, as always, for watching. This has been Sports Talk with Dad. See you next time.
Bye, everybody.